you remember the first time you stepped into an arena to witness a collision of good versus evil? The excitement in the air, the roar of the crowd, and of course, the blood. It's time to relive those memories big time. A historical wrestling lesson taught by your professors, the legendary Terry Sullivan and Supermouth Dave Drayson. ROX-TV and International Big Time Wrestling present Big Time Memories.
Hello everyone, Big Time Memories is back. I'm Terry Sullivan. This, of course, is the inimitable Dave Drayson, photographer extraordinaire, manager extraordinaire. Write that check out to me now.
Does anybody got a dictionary? I got to look up that word.
We are back again, and it's our goal to entertain you with stories from the past of America's super action sport, professional big time wrestling in the Michigan, Ohio area, as it was back in the 70s when we were raising heck there too.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, God, those are fun times. I mean, every time, we do one of these shows, our comments and, that people send us, saying that we're bringing back memories that they long forgot about. And
it's the same with us.
Yeah, I mean, like I said before, there's times that, we do our research and, we interject our stories, but there's times that you just surprise the heck out of me with, I'm learning something on every one of these shows that we do.
Same with you, yeah. It's quite an endeavor to put these things together, to do it well, and to try to be 100% accurate. Sometimes we don't always quite achieve that, and the people always let us know.
Yeah.
And in fact, again, not too long in the future, we're going to do a show, a part of which, a Dressing Room Confidential show, and part of that will be correcting everything that we've screwed up since the last time we did Dressing Room Confidential. So stay tuned for that as we set the record straight.
Yeah, but today's episode, we did one, I think it was in season 1, we did an episode on this gentleman's father. And everybody, I mean, when we mention the name, they're going to know who we're going to do today. But wait a minute. You remember that guy.
Don't you tell me what to do.
Yeah, Wild Bull Curry.
Yeah.
But we're not doing Bull Curry today.
No?
No, we're doing his son.
Oh, I think I've heard of
Flying
him, as a matter
Fred
of fact.
Curry,
Yeah.
or as his real name is, Fred Curry Jr.,
Yeah.
who was born on June 12th, 1943 in Hartford, Connecticut. And as a young kid, I mean, with a father who's such a big name in the sport of professional wrestling, Fred was a great athlete, middle school, high school. I mean, he wrestled, he ran track, he played football in high school. And, that carried on, until he went to the University of Connecticut for 4 years. Not too many people know that he went to, college for 4 years.
What degree did he get, do you know?
I don't know.
Education? I think it was education, wasn't it? Because didn't he teach for a while?
Well, probably from the old man. He got the third degree all the time.
I guess so.
But, before he became a wrestler, after he got out of college, he was a teacher at Madison Heights Junior High School.
In Detroit?
No, in Hartford. But that's the ironic thing, too. Madison Heights, high school, George Steele, Jim Myers, that's where he taught at. So There's that little connection. Both taught at a Madison Heights school.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And Fred really started out as a referee.
No kidding.
Yeah.
What, as he was training to be a wrestler?
Yes. He was a referee up in Halifax, Nova Scotia.
How do you know all this stuff, by the way?
Because I talked to Fred Curry recently.
You did?
Yeah, besides our regular research that, we did on him, I called him up and said, hey, we're going to feature you on Big Time Memories, an episode this year.
He says, what's that?
Yeah, no, he watches, quite often, his kids, show him. And, he, just me and him just sat down and talked about his career. So a lot of the stuff that I'm going to bring, I had no idea either, but he was sharing great information with me, and that's what we're going to show you.
Yeah, well, that's good.
He said he started out as a referee in Halifax, but he made his wrestling debut on June 26th, 1963 versus Boris Malenko, but in the Boston Garden. And I had thought, when I asked him, I says, well, you were refereeing in Halifax, you were up there with your dad, wouldn't you have made your pro debut there? He says, no, we came back home, and, Hartford isn't that far from Boston. So he made his, debut against Boris Malenko, who was very big, name in those days, more so in Florida.
Yeah.
But, he traveled the country in those early days.
Yeah.
And, you got to say, Flying Fred Curry, the flying. He was one of the original high flyers, I got to say.
Yeah.
And known for his drop kicks.
Really ahead of his time. I mean, you see the flyers, the high flyers these days everywhere. They're flying in the ring and out of the ring and onto the concrete and here and there. But Freddie kept it in the ring, but he was one of the first guys to, outside of the luchadors in Mexico, to do that high flying style.
Mm-hmm. And, at the time, in the mid 60s to late 60s, when Fred was, working Detroit, the flying, he was just a drop kick king. And also at the same time, we had Rocky Johnson, and he was known for his drop kicks. I mean, both of them just beautiful.
Yeah.
But when I was talking to Fred, I says, how many drop kicks do you think was the most you ever did in one match? And he said he did 14 drop kicks in a row. He says that's the most he ever did.
And that is a lot. I remember him doing 12 against the Sheik, and it was a little competition to see who was going to be able to keep getting up and down and up and down, up and down, take the blow, go down.
Yeah. But, he was, making a name for himself, very young.
Yeah.
And in 1964, he went down to Texas with his dad, Bull Curry. And when he debuted down there, he was known as Young Bull Curry.
Young Bull.
Yeah.
Sounds like an Indian.
And, I have pictures of them, together down in Texas, very young, that, we're showing you fans. And, he was just an instant hit down there. Young, handsome, high flyer, the kind of things that, that Texas, hardcore wrestling, they didn't see that kind of stuff back then.
He was the son of the Bull. That was pretty much instant notoriety for him, instant credibility.
But for big-time wrestling fans, he made his Detroit debut in 1964, where he teamed with Lou Klein against Dr. Bill Miller and Hans Schmidt.
Wow.
And I don't know. I think with Lou Klein as a partner, I don't think they came out on top.
You think?
I don't know. I don't know the result of that one, but
Yeah.
I'm sure, with Dr. Bill Miller and Hans Schmidt, boy, those are two ruffians.
Yep.
Oh, man,
Yep.
they were good back in the day.
Yep. I think the bookies probably would have given it to Schmidt and Miller.
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah.
But he came back in his second match at Cobo. He went against the Beast.
Oh, the Beast.
Yeah.
Now, he was a huge name in Detroit back then.
Yeah, I mean, he, going back to Motor City Wrestling, where wasn't it the Beast went against Larry Shane?
Right.
And, on a TV bout, he put him in a bear hug, and Larry Shane started spitting blood and stuff, and they took him to the hospital, and the TV station was flooded with phone calls. And
it was all during their live TV show.
Yeah, so the Beast and Larry Shane was a big, thing back in early 60s.
The Beast was John Yachety from Toronto. Do we know that?
Yeah, Mr.
It wasn't
Yachety.
Yvonne Cormier from
No.
Nova Scotia. Okay.
Yep.
Because he had a couple of different beasts. You had to have a scorecard to keep the beasts straight.
Yeah. Well, same thing with the ROX and the Sheiks and all those. Yeah.
Right.
But yeah, he went against the Beast, and I know that he beat the Beast.
Did he?
Yeah, he beat the Beast.
Well, that would have been a major, major victory.
Yeah, and the thing was, because the Beast had his manager, Martino Angelo.
Yeah,
remember
my buddy.
him? Yeah, our
Oh,
good
heck
buddy.
yeah,
Promoter in Toledo, Ohio.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Fred became a fan favorite in Detroit, for the longest time, and he was a 9-time tag team champion. I mean, tag team champion wasn't it? Let me see if I can remember. Danny Miller, he was a tag team champion with him. I think Billy Red Lyons.
Yeah.
Louis Martinez.
Probably
exactly.
Marino. Bobo.
Yeah,
probably.
Bobo probably. But I'll bring this one up. When he became the tag team champ with Louis Martinez, it was a scheduled match against Kurt Von Hess and Carl Von Schatz, and Louis Martinez said that he's going to bring in a mystery partner. So nobody knew who his partner was going to be. So come that Kobo show, Louis, Von Hess and Von Schatz come out to the ring to a chorus of boos, of course, and they're strutting around the ring with, George Cannon, I am right.
That's right.
And Louis Martinez comes out, and here comes this guy with him with a really cheap bed sheet over him with eyes cut out, and it's like, probably a little rope tied around his thing to keep it together, and it's like nobody knew who it was. And he came out barefoot. So, who could this be?
Barefoot?
Yeah.
Nobody.
Yeah. So anyway, the bout starts and boom, boom, boom. And I think Louis was getting, the worst of it. Von Hess and Von Schatz teaming up on him and stuff. And finally, Louis made the hot tag to Fred. The mystery partner, darn it, I gave it away too early. Yeah, but he comes in and starts boom, 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 drop kick, and pins they became champions, and then they take the bed sheet off him, and it came out to be Fred Curry. So that was a really great one.
Yeah, they couldn't really have him wear his boots. Remember the emblem on his boot?
Yeah, because there wasn't
the wing.
the wings on there. Yeah. So people would have known who that was. So, the sheet match and, multi-time champion, but never became a singles champion here. No. I think what Fred told me is that the only singles champion that he ever had, I believe, was in Hawaii. Uh-huh. He was a champion in Hawaii. But I remember this one, too. I mean, always fun to photograph Fred. Good guy, in the dressing room. And, when I became a manager, I was working for George Cannon's Superstars of Wrestling in Canada. And he brought Fred Curry in. So I'm trying to remember who I was managing at that time. It was either Hartford Love, Bruce Swayze, or Eric the Red. And they always had one of these main event TV bouts at the end, So they gave fans, something really good. And I believe it was Eric the Red going against Fred Curry, and I'm in Eric the Red's corner. And it's like we work this thing to where, I'm going to interfere and Eric the Red's going to get disqualified and Fred's going to go over. And, so what ended up happening, I interfered and, we get disqualified and Eric the Red turns his back and I turn my back and Fred jumps me. Okay, I'm going to take a few bumps. So he body slams me, gives me a couple kicks, punches and stuff. And then I says, throw me into the corner. But you want to be thrown into the corner towards the TV cameras, so they can, fans can see. And I always did the, flip in the corner and get my feet tied up. Fred can give me a couple kicks. Well, stupid Fred, he takes me and whips me into the corner where the fans are. Uh-oh. I go upside down, and the next thing I know, boom! Some old geese in the front row came with his cane, and he whacked me upside the head big time. And it's like, I just unhooked my foot really quick and rolled, and to get the heck out of there. And it's like, the next TV taping that we had, because we'd tape multiple shows in one day. I was, I challenged that old geese.
I bet you did.
But then there was all these other fans there, but it's like, I had to watch myself stay out of that, because I was going to.
cane out from under him and went right after him.
Yeah, so I always thank Fred for that one.
People always, that is the way it was back then. People believed for the most part.
Yeah.
And they really bought into what was happening as serious, serious stuff. And they would get upset, they would cry, they would scream and yell and curse and
attack.
Exactly.
Sometimes, how many times, did they try to get into the ring?
Yeah. And they never walked out.
Yeah.
At least that was my experience.
Yeah. But, for me as a manager, and you're the guy outside the ring, you're an easy target.
You're sure, because you have your back to the people.
Yeah. And, me at that time, I was like 140 pounds.
I remember.
They can whoop the heck out of me easily,
Yeah.
But, the riots and all that other stuff that we caused, it was all great. Great memories. I'd do it again.
Did you talk to Freddie at all about his the time he spent in Madison Square Garden in the New York territory or Hawaii?
Hawaii, he said that was one of his favorite places to work. Yeah. Really didn't say much about New York at all.
Yeah.
But he really loved, Hawaii because it was the stopover between going to Japan. And when you go to Japan, you're really revered there and treated well, and, you make good money too over there.
You want to make sure when you get to Japan, you've got a beautiful tan.
Yeah.
So you stop off in Hawaii, maybe wrestle a night there for Ed Francis, and away you go.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and especially in Hawaii, you always get a lei. The wreath I'm talking about, savage little beast. But we talked about this, in other episodes. Mark Lewin of one, Buddy Rogers another, and now Fred Curry. Same territory, but the same city, Columbus, Ohio. He started running opposition against the Sheik, but with Bobo Brazil. But, when I talked to Fred, he said, him and Bobo were, promoting Columbus and the little smaller towns around there. But he said that it was with the Sheik's blessing.
Yeah, because the Sheik, and we talked about this before, Columbus just was not happening. Big time wrestling just could not seem to gain a foothold in that town, and we had television, which was really expensive. So, and usually television didn't last for very long because you're spending so much money on television, then going to the arena and you're not making that money back.
Yeah.
So then you have to make a decision. So it was real tough, and then the Sheik wasn't doing any of the smaller towns around Columbus at all. So Fred lived in Columbus, and Bobo was being a big, huge star. Why not? And so I think that's the arrangement they had.
Yeah, and they did it for a while, but like you said, tough nut to crack there, and I think they folded up shop, and but I'd have to look at results and see what guys that they were using. If it was with the Sheik's blessing, they probably used a lot of the big time wrestling stars.
Well, he had a lot of people he used, like Bobby Golden, Bull, when Bull was around. Thunderbolt Patterson was friends of both Currys. Bob White, Mr. Crowbar, Bob White would come in.
Gary Fulton
was there, and he also had a 17-year-old kid from Chillicothe, Ohio, that he gave a break to. In Columbus. You know his name, right?
Bobby Fulton.
Right.
Who went on to big success.
Yeah.
I mean, as the Fantastics, and God, you talk about making it big.
Yeah.
God bless him.
These days, Bobby Fulton is getting all sorts of accolades for drawing, run a couple of shows in the past couple of months, drawing some of the largest independent wrestling crowds in the entire country.
Yeah, God bless him. I mean, he's had a rough last couple of years with, cancer and, shoulder surgery and, broken arm and, heartbreak because all those little teeny bopper gals that, followed them around when they were the Fantastics when they were, 18, 20 years old. Yeah. Well, now they're 60, 65 and in walkers and stuff. And it's
trying to chase after him with the walker.
Yeah. But, yeah, so... Fred, was, promoting Columbus for a little bit. Yeah. And, when I talked to him, I always wondered, who his favorite opponents were, who he liked to work with.
Great question.
And he said he loved working with Killer Carl Cox, the Sheik, of course. He said Fritz von Erich. He loved working with Fritz von Erich. Uh-huh. But he said his favorite opponents were the Hells Angels, and especially Chris Colt. Now, I can see why.
Yeah, because the styles are similar.
Yeah, and to me, I may have said it on this show, but I always said it, to other wrestling fans and stuff, that I think Chris Colt is the most underappreciated wrestler in history. He could do it all. He didn't have a big physique or anything, but he could do everything. Yeah. You ask him, I remember him... walking the top rope, just starting the corner and walking it, with not holding on to somebody's hand or anything. The maneuvers that guy can do, and Fred, and I can see why Fred said that he loved working with them.
Yeah, they were way ahead of their time, and they were a lot of the wrestlers who were there at that time just weren't up off the mat. They were pretty much mat workers or punchers, brawlers, not the back and forth, ups and downs like that. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Now I'll ask you this question because I posed it to Fred. I says, who is your least favorite opponent? Who did you not like to work against? Take a guess.
I don't have to guess. I already read it on the notes.
Oh,
you want me to? I would say. What about Bulldog Brower?
Go, good guess.
Bulldog Brower, he was a whack job.
Yeah, he was. But Fred said he didn't like working with him because he said he was stiff.
Yeah,
he working stiff. I mean, a lot of guys, a lot of the big muscle guys work stiff, because they weren't light as a feather,
right?
And I could see, guys like that, and like Zulu or some of those big muscle guys. Boy, they can hurt you.
Yeah, some of them don't know their own strength. Mm-hmm. They think they're being soft, but in fact, they're knocking your lights out.
Yeah, but unfortunately, Fred had his last match. On August 4th, 1990, and I wonder if you were there because it was at the Toledo Speedway that he lost to Sabu.
No, I wasn't allowed. No, I wasn't there. No, I was aware that the match was happening, but no, I wasn't there.
Yeah, the one person I remember who was there is Rude Boy.
Yeah?
Yeah, I don't know who he went against that night, but, well, maybe on one of our, dressing room confidentials and, when we do our corrections and stuff like that, we can get a comment from Rude Boy to tell us about that, show and see if he remembers, working with Fred there and, Sabu and some of the other guys. Because I think the Sheik might have been on that show, too.
Oh, he was.
Yeah.
I think he wrestled Abdullah or was supposed to, right? Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but these days...
Van Dam was there too, I think, wasn't he? Yeah, Van Dam was there.
Oh, okay. But these days, Fred, in retirement, still living in Hartford, Connecticut, and he often goes to breakfast and lunch with a good friend of mine in Springfield, Massachusetts, Tom Burke. Uh-huh. They get together, and Fred brings his sons along, and his son Nick. He's another high flyer these days. I'm just waiting for him to get signed by a big company so we can see him on TV. I've seen, some video of him.
Yeah.
Mercy sakes.
We have to see if we can show some of his video because watching Nick do that series of drop kicks is just like, well, you can tell who taught him.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But then we've got another older brother who spent like 15 years in the wrestling business, Fred Curry III. Rocket Fred Curry.
Really?
Yeah.
Now, is he a family member?
Yeah, he's Freddie's. Fred has three sons: Michael, Fred, and Nick.
Okay.
And Fred is the oldest. and he's out of the business now. But he was always real good, but pretty much stuck to the independent scene down around Columbus. But yeah, he was another good-looking guy, and he's now off managing a restaurant, I believe.
Okay.
And I think Nick is torn between MMA and wrestling. And I have a feeling we'll probably see him in both in one form or another.
Yeah, hopefully we see him soon. And, if, you can, catch him on YouTube at some point, look it up and, see Nick wrestling, because you're watching Fred Curry from, 40, 50 years, prior.
Same thing with Fred III. He's the Rocket. He's on a lot of YouTube matches. There's another little interesting bit of trivia about Flying Fred Curry. Pro Wrestling Illustrated. You remember that magazine,
Yeah.
right? Pretty well thought of, pretty highly thought of. They voted Fred Curry the most popular wrestler in the world in 1972.
I can see that.
Well, actually, to be totally honest, he tied. It was Freddie and Jack Briscoe tied for most popular.
I'd have to give it to Fred. I have to give kudos to Fred.
Yeah.
I was never a Briscoe fan.
Yeah.
I found him boring. Almost like a old, Ben Justice promo. Same thing. Jack Briscoe on a promo. I'm going to take a pee, or go get a soda out of the refrigerator.
And we should say that Freddie wrote a biography on his father called The Walking Riot about Wild Bull Curry. And you were telling me Freddie has his autobiography that he's working on?
Yeah, Fred, I think it's all done. I supplied a lot of pictures.
Spell check?
Yeah, well, no, I supplied a lot of pictures for Fred, send it to him, and, he's trying to find a publisher, and, hopefully that comes out soon.
Yeah.
So that way we can, bring him, here on the show and, talk about the book one day and, hopefully, have him tell us all about it.
Yeah. Sounds good.
That'd be great to see him again.
Oh, yeah, really.
But as with customary, that's, Flying Fred Curry, about all we can tell. I'll be talking to him again. If I do talk to him again, I'll relay stuff. Forgot to say that he did say, to the Big Time Wrestling fans, that he really appreciates you and to tell you all hello. And, hopefully, like we said, hopefully we can get, Fred here one day.
Yeah.
And, comes that time, we're running out of time, and, we're running out of money, to pay our production staff here. So take us out, an outro on Flying Fred Curry.
Yeah, just always one of the nicest guys, real funny guy, and consummate athlete, really was. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, from Hartford, Connecticut, weighing 224 pounds, Flying Fred Curry.